Started off really good. It was amazing for about the first year.
I had sexual violence, in all different ways.
And discovered he was taking drugs the whole time and meeting with other girls, some of which were underage. He actually had an affair with a 14-year-old for 2 years.
And also being put down in front of my children, so they started, particularly my eldest child, started treating me in a similar way.
But at the time, I just believed everything he said. I didn't even question him. He was everything to me, and I just thought it was normal.
No one knows what goes on behind closed doors. Domestic abuse is often a hidden problem, yet 1 in 4 women experiences abuse at some point in her life. This abuse means women can be reduced to a shell of their former selves, knocked down by either physical, mental, sexual or financial abuse, or a combination of all 4.
The way I work and the way that Women's Aid works is we don't have a sort of hierarchy of abuse, because all of the types of abuse are very pernicious, they're very chip away at people's confidence and self-esteem. So actually, the psychological abuse can be just as sort of damaging and far-reaching sort of impact on that woman as physical abuse.
Once the abuse heavily outweighs the love in the relationship, the woman will decide to leave. It is often after one particularly defining incident.
Well, I just realised that I was getting really, really low, really depressed. There was a specific sexual attack that had happened not that long after I'd had my second child, and it kind of made me realise what was happening.
The moment a woman has the realisation she should leave is known as the crunch point.
A woman usually experiences 35 incidents of abuse before she will report the abuse, and that's either to the police or maybe an agency like ourselves. And it will take her 7 attempts to leave before she finally leaves. So I suppose the crunch point for me is that point when that woman says, you know what, I've had enough of this. So it might not be, that's it, I'm leaving tomorrow, but it might just be that that's the time when she starts formulating a plan to leave, when she knows that things are not going to get any better.
Making the decision to leave is only a small part of the battle. Physically leaving means overcoming many barriers. Aside from the emotional and physical threats, women often have to deal with debt that a partner has left them.
One day a switch just flicked in my head and I just thought, this is ridiculous. What am I doing? I need to finish this. I need to get out somehow. It wasn't that simple. He was a gambler and there was a lot of money debt, which some I knew about and some I didn't. He'd steal from me and all sorts of things and blame it on everyone other than himself.
But women who experience abuse don't often have close friends for support, which is where professional services such as Women's Aid come in. For one woman, her husband being verbally abusive and aggressive around their children prompted her to seek.
As soon as I saw him, I went into the bedroom and hid in there, and he started banging on the door, banging in the window, shouting through the windows to Lizzie, not to me, to Lizzie, saying, "Oh, it's Daddy, let me in," because he knew that he had that hold over her. So she got really, really upset, and I thought, oh, right, I'm going to have to go to the door. So I opened the door a little bit. Had the baby, she was only 6 months old, something like that, and I had her in my arms and Lizzie next to me, and he started hurling abuse at me, and I was always used to it. I was getting called names all the time, pretty derogatory things, I had no self-confidence at all, and I tried shutting the door, at which point he threatened to kill me, threatened to kill my then boyfriend, and then steal the children.
However, because of Aisha's rural location, the nearest specialist women's service is an hour and a half away, a journey made difficult because of limited access to transport. She called the police for support instead, who turned out to be unhelpful.
Once I calmed the kids down, because Lizzie was pretty distraught and he had no clue what was going on, I called the police, and all they did was they said, okay, well, make sure your doors and windows locked. And they went and found him and gave him a warning. And that was it. And the following weekend, he tried to do it again. He was at my door at 7 o'clock in the morning. As soon as I got up, I don't know how long he'd been out there, but he was obviously waiting for me to get up. And then was again at my doors and windows hitting them. And I just had to turn the TV up loud so that he couldn't hear, pretend nothing was going on, and ring the police.
What did the police do that time?
They turned up within about 15 minutes. And he gave them some sub story, and they believed it.
So that's where we come in, because we understand that. I think as an organisation, that's why we roll out education programmes for the police, for social care, for teachers, for doctors, because I think anyone who works for Musée, they have to get it. They have to get that we believe the women, and that we know that it's a lot of coercion going on. There's a lot of and that woman needs that kind of extra bit of support.
It seems unfair that women might miss out on vital support that specialist organisations provide because of their location. Refuges not only provide a bed and a room, but offer financial advice and personal support.
Yeah, I think the one really good thing which really kind of made my decision for me about going into Refuge was that I knew that I would get the support that I needed, and because I'd gotten really low and was on quite a high dose of antidepressants and things, I really needed somebody there to kind of guide me through doing benefits and things, and kind of to say, how are you getting on today? Have you eaten properly? Have you had your tablets? Have you done this? And because I was really, really good at being a parent to my kids. That was what kind of kept me going. But actually, anything for me, I just found really difficult to maintain.
Getting into Refuge isn't easy. Adele worked alongside the police in the public protection unit that deals with domestic abuse. She decided to stay with friends rather than go through the exhausting refuge and rehousing process.
I didn't think it would work, if I'm honest. I didn't really have much trust in the system, and I was petrified of him. And I knew if I was with people that I knew and I trusted, I'd be safe and that I could get away. And I don't think I trusted anyone by that point. He'd knocked me down to such a small version of myself. I was just lost, I think. I was completely lost and broken, and I don't think it even crossed my mind to do it legally. My stubbornness was probably still there as well, and I didn't want to leave my house, and I didn't want to have to change my whole life.
But a distrust in the system isn't unfounded.
It was a nightmare when I went to it, though. My house was fire damaged. There was no proper back door on the property. It's still got the metal shutter things there that they use for security. There were still other things wrong with it which hadn't been sorted, but you kind of like, you're not really, that you've got to accept it. You're not in any position to argue.
In the last 4 years, over a third of funding has been cut from women's services. Almost 30,000 women a year are already being turned away from Refuge. So how the government justified cuts in this area is perplexing and also believed to be false economy.
It costs the government much, much more the impact of abuse through the use of medical, health services, police, the courts. Costs the government, probably 10 times what it would cost to run a service like this. So for me, it just doesn't make sense.
Every day that goes by is just another day of enduring abuse for some women. The 3 featured in this film are examples of how escaping an abusive relationship is possible. But without continued support from the government, other women might not be so lucky.